Deacon Nation, welcome back to your favorite podcast, Deac2Deac. In this episode, I had a chance to sit down with former football player Chip Vaughn. Chip Vaughn had a chance to share with us his story about why he chose Wake Forest, what it was like to play on the 2006 ACC Championship team, and how he rose through the ranks of coaching to become an assistant coach with the New York Jets, plus much, much more of his story. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, and always go Deeks. So, Chip Vaughn, great to have you on the show. You are one of our most requested former student athletes to sit down and talk to. So I'm excited about this for Deacon Nation to get to learn more about you, what you got going on now. And so we're going to start from the beginning. So where you originally from, and what was it like growing up there?
All right. Well, to start off, originally I'm from let's start over. All right, here we go. Originally I'm from Goldsboro, North Carolina. Military kid, so I lived all over the place. I lived in North Carolina, South Dakota, Alabama, California, Colorado, Maryland, and what I graduated high school was in Fairfax, Virginia. I've lived, from on base to middle class, lower class, upper class. So I've experienced the whole spectrum, right? So when I graduated high school, back in '04. All right, it was the largest high school in the entire state. All right, it was 4,000 kids. Okay, and then when I went to Wake, it was almost identical to the same size of the school I came from. So it wasn't that big of a shock. The only shock there was just the cultural side of it. But outside of that, man, I think up my upbringing as a military kid helped me out a lot, because as soon as I got to Wake, of course, my eyes were exposed to a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I think an Air Force brat helped.
So, how did you get into sports being in different places as you're growing up? How were you able to find your niche in sports?
I think that was my way of coping as being the new kid, right? Like every time you move, like as a kid, like the hardest thing is to find and make friends. Well, sports was my way of like getting to know kids around the neighborhood and class, So I think that helped tremendously, So any spot that we moved is like, all right, my pops always signed me up for the football team, the basketball team, the soccer team, any team there was. He signed me up, but he also was my coach. Like he actually coached me all the way up until college, essentially.
Now, was football your first sport?
No, it wasn't. So really, my first sport was soccer. I started doing that, and then I actually got kicked out of soccer because I was too physical. And then after that, I started playing football.
Wait,
But
wait, wait, wait. Chip, were you out there taking kids out? Like you
I was
just
tackling. I was
you
tackling,
taking them
Kev.
out?
Yeah, and then like the parents started playing. This kid's all rough. Da, da, da. So that was the last of my soccer days, and then after that was just football and basketball. But truthfully, Kev, like my first love was basketball, man. Like I actually got my first scholarship there in
Oh
basketball,
wow. What position?
but guard
Oh wow.
at
Okay.
guard, but I was like, I'm not gonna be that tall, so I kind of just went with the odds of being, 6'2" football or 6'2" in basketball.
So when you were in high school and you're playing football at this high level, What went into it in your recruiting process as still moved around a bit, but what was your recruiting process like?
It was extremely slow, extremely slow. Here's why. All right. So my junior year of high school, I actually tore my left MCL. And then also that was the fall of '02. And in Northern Virginia, if you recall, it was a thing called the DC Sniper.
Yes.
All right. So that actually canceled our season for about 6 weeks. So on top of that, I'm hurt, right? So actually, my junior year of high school, I had like 3 games of film. That's it, right? So I'm heading into my senior year with hardly any game tape. I think I had like one catch for like 55 yards, a touchdown. That was freaking it, man. So I knew that my only shot was to bust my butt and to go to like Nike camp, any camp that I could go to try to impress guys, because I actually moved to Virginia right after 9/11. Okay. So I moved and I'm brand new on a state championship team. Okay. And so it it was extremely tough to even like sniff the starting lineup, Kev. It's incredibly hard, but that was something that I wanted though, because I knew if I had a chance to play at this school, that like there were so many colleges that come there every single game that like somebody would just give me a shot. So fast forward, it's the summer before my senior year, and Coach Sherman was the wideout coach at Wake. All right, he stopped by the school in the springtime. He said, "All right, Chip, you got okay size. Why don't you come down to camp, see what you got?" I was like, "Cool." All right, so that was like my only camp invite, man, and I like went all out for it. Like I had a personal trainer. I'm eating good, training, everything. And I get to the camp and I like put on a show. I ran like a 4.37, ran extremely well, jumped well, tested well, drills, all that. And Coach Grove offered me on the spot. Boom. Right. I shut down everything after that. I committed. I'm done. It was over. Because it's funny because my dad's family is from there,
Okay.
Winston, right? So
Okay.
like my whole childhood, I'm going to like Dave Odom basketball camp, Coach Caldwell football camp, my entire life as a kid. Um, so like as soon as I had that offer from Wake, I'm like, I'm good. I made it,
No
like
brainer.
no brainer.
Yeah.
Box check, let's go, right? And it was just the perfect fit. It was a school that was big but not too big. And then I had a support system there that was fantastic. I had my grandparents there, aunts, uncles, cousins. Like I could always get a home cooked meal. Um, so like everything was fantastic, so it was great, man. It was a
So,
no-brainer for me.
so what was it about Wake? I know you mentioned about you being familiar with the area, having family there, but what was it about the university that made you feel comfortable in terms of I feel like I can come here and contribute? But what was it about the university as a whole, in addition to the family being there, that made you say, "Okay, I'm coming"?
uh, I knew that without football, that if I never played a down, that my life was set, because I knew at some point that I would have to put the pads up, and so I was always trying to choose a school where it would set me up for the next 40 years of life instead of that just 4 years. So that's what really made me choose Wake, because I was like, all right, if I happen to get hurt or I'm just terrible, right? Will I still have a productive life and still have the lifestyle that I always wanted to have? So at Wake, like, you truly get the best of both worlds. And I think it's like a secret, like you could
Mm.
really get a top-notch education, but at the same time, in the ACC, you're playing the best conference out there, so shoot, why not Wake?
Good point. I totally agree. What was your freshman year like? That since you had all this access to home cooked meals, and to those in Deacon Nation that may not know, as a student athlete, the value of a home cooked meal is you can't put a price tag on it. So what was your freshman year like?
Freshman year, like, well, one, I probably gained about 25 pounds.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
but
about average. Yeah.
it was good weight though. It was good weight, but
Yeah.
I was eating, lifting. But truthfully, okay, my first year, my freshman year, it sucked. It was terrible. Why? All right. So we went like 5-7, 4-8, something like that. It was bad, right? It was the worst season I ever had. High school, I never lost more than 4 games my entire life in high school, right? So athletically, my first year was extremely hard on me. Then off the field, in the classroom, it kicked my butt. Like, Wake is tough. Wake
Yeah.
is extremely hard, and it's even harder if you're an athlete because they don't take it easy on you. It seems like, yeah, they kind of crank up the screws just a little bit on athletes. So that first fall, oh brother, it was, man, I was drowning, to say the least. And then, the the football team at the time was not so good. It was a basketball school. It was a Chris Paul show and tie-dye nation. And so you weren't really that proud to, like, walk around with your football stuff on, da da da. No, no, no. So my first year was tough, but I learned a lot about it. I learned a lot about myself, how to be a good teammate.
Yeah.
But it was a learning experience, to say the least.
Now, you talked about how tough it is academically, and what were some of the resources that was in place to kind of help you create that balance and begin to have that success both on the field and off the field?
There was a woman named Hunter Willard, and she worked in student athlete services, and she made a detailed plan, and she had her thumb on my neck. She kept me straight. And so, I mean, if there was anything in question that I may have a grade slip, man, she was on top of me like that. I think she single-handedly got me through Wake as far as showing me how to study and prepare. And I think that was just a great system that the school has in place, is to show young men how to grow. Like, it's cool that you're gonna enter here a certain way, but our job is to transform you, but not show you, but teach you how to fish. And then so you grow and you learn. And so by the time you leave, that you are a grown A man,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's a great system there in place.
So you were competing for playing time with Josh Gaddis, and uh, how did that help make you a better player?
Oh man. So Josh pushed me in more ways than he will ever know. Like, we are cool to this day,
Shout out to
homeboy.
Josh, man.
Shout out to Josh, man. He's doing great things right now. But Josh was a guy who I always felt like, okay, he's this big, strong, fast. And it's like anything that he did, I was trying to, like, top that. Everything. If he ran a 4.35, I'm trying to go 4.34, right? I'm trying to beat him at everything, and so like we just always push each other. Weights, running, sprints, drills, practice, but we were always pushing each other, but it was never a animosity deal. No, it was like, okay, we're in this together. Let's learn. Let's grow. So man, he's fantastic, man. I don't have enough words to even describe him. He's a great person, man.
So, Chip, I want to talk about the ACC Championship season. And
Okay.
before we get into the championship game, the Orange Bowl, and the great success that you guys had, I want to talk about one of the biggest moments in Wake's football history. Probably is the Duke game where you blocked a critical field goal. But before we get into that specific play, I want to get your thoughts on just that championship team. What were you guys' attitude, would you say, going into that season? Did you see everything happening the way that it did, or was it one of those things where you just, you get dialed in and you just playing hard? Like what was the mindset of the team going into that season?
So let's go back to post 2005, winter of 05, 06 was like a coming to Jesus in Wake Forest sports. It was a time when everybody from the top down was sick and tired and pissed off of losing, but not just losing the game, but how. Because if you go back and look from like 02 to 05, Wake lost so many games by 10 points or less. Okay. And it was a time when guys just said, this is enough. We're like right here, but we can never just get over that hump. And so that off season, like winter of 05, spring of 06 is when guys, I'm telling you, Kev, like I've never been around a group of men that pushed each other to the max every single day. I'm talking like guys puking, crying, there's fights, but it's like a competitive drive fight, right? Like you're holding guys accountable from every rep. Did you even touch a line? You're late. I'm talking like the coaches didn't have to check anybody. It was a strictly player-led team. And I think that transitioned and it snowballed through the summer and training camp where we had all this confidence, where like we knew that we busted our ass and we put in so much work that anytime we touched the field, we expected to win, but not just win a game. Like we expected to beat the brakes off a team like every Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it started. And like, that's when the younger class, like the class of 03, 04 started challenging the older guys. And it was kind of like, look, like you guys been doing stuff a certain way and y'all haven't won. Let's try it this way and see what happens.
Wait now, Chip, you and I both know that conversation didn't go that smoothly.
Oh, no, they did it. They did it. Like I said earlier,
when you start challenging those
some
guys,
fighting going on. It was some heads bumping back and forth. But it was just a case, man. Like the class of 03 and 04 just had like so much talent on there. It was crazy. Like the coaches did a phenomenal job recruiting, but at spots that we needed. And it was just like lightning in a bottle, man. Like stuff just clicked. And so once the season started, like we literally felt like, okay, we're picked dead last, but we are a sleeping giant right now. Like nobody knows. And then the first game happens, and our starting Q gets knocked out. So it's like, oh, damn, what's
Mhm.
next? What's
Mhm.
going to happen? But it was like nobody blinked, Kev. Like nobody looked sad. It was like, okay, who's up next? Defense, we already know what we got to do. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then Riley Skinner came in and like the whole defense just had his back and said, listen, man, don't think that you got to win this game. You know, it's all of us, you know, so we just try to take the pressure off him. And then like we really put a emphasis that it has to take all three phases every week. It can't be Skinner, can't be special teams, it can't be uh, one-sided. It's got to take all of us, you know. But it was something that just Kev, it just built like every week, man. And I'm telling you, it just started from winter workouts after the 05 season. Like guys got after it, man. They got after it.
So, uh, each time you see a team that has success during the season, there's typically a turning point where it was a play. It literally it's a play or a series where it either keeps things on the rails or it goes totally off the rails. And a lot of people, including I talked to, I'm gonna use his proper moniker, Dr. Lewis Frazier. Uh,
Mm,
he said he was gonna
ah,
cut block me if I didn't call him Dr. Frazier.
the
So,
doctor.
and he talked about that game being a pivotal point and that huge play that you made in blocking that field goal. So, kind of take Deacon Nation through what was going through your mind uh, right before that play.
Right before that play, I'm thinking, can I jump high enough? Because I have two staph infections in my left leg.
Oh,
It's something that a lot of people outside of that football world don't know is we had a serious staph infection like going through our entire team when I want to say we probably had maybe 20 something guys have it. I'm talking like stuff on their joints, elbows, knees, hips. It was bad, Kev. It was bad. And really, like, I was not supposed to even be out there, like, even play at all. Like, I think I got 6 IVs that
wow.
day to play. I didn't sleep all night. Um, like, it hurt so bad, like that thin sheet, right? I couldn't even put it on top of my leg because it felt like it was excruciating pain, man. It was wild. It was crazy. And so that play, I was like, man, I just hope I can jump, right? Um, you know, but it was something that I went back to pregame and I saw the kicker was knocking it low. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, knocking it low. And earlier in the game, he kicked on it, was low. I was like, okay, bam. All right, so let me try to line it up. Let me see if I can stick my arm up and hopefully it'll be in like that sight line there, you know, man. And I just timed it up and I jumped as high as I could, closed my eyes, trying to stretch. I just heard a thump, boom, landed on the ground, and the whole place goes crazy. Goes crazy after
Wow.
that. I just heard a thump, 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 Kev, and it's the whole place was
That's what
nuts, man.
you listen for, that double thud. When you hear
Yeah,
that, that's something's that went good. Something's good after that.
some went good, but the crazy part is I was not supposed to even jump on the play. Coach Mack, he told me to watch for the fake, but I'm starting to think, I'm like, damn, that coach is Duke. They won't ever beat us. They're not about to fake a field goal right here to, you know. So I was like, I'm not doing that. Damn that, I'm about to jump. I'm about to go all out. That's just me, Kev. Listen, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go off the porch. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stay on the porch and die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, coach, I'm jumping. I'm jumping. You know, but it was just crazy. Like I think there's a picture I saw. It was called SWAT block left, and the intent is like the whole left side is like the cave in that side down. And there's a picture where it's Aaron Curry, Anthony Davis, and they took that whole left side, Kev, and everybody's like on the freaking ground, man. It was crazy. Like everybody did their job. And I think that just is the point of that entire season was if you do your job, then you're going to allow your brother to do his job, right? And so I think that was just the prime example of everybody is doing their job and trusting each other. And good things going to happen.
What was that moment like? Well, let me back up. ACC Championship game. What was that moment like after the game? When did it hit you that, wow, we just won an ACC title at Wake Forest in football? Because you just talked about Wake being a basketball school and wanting to turn it around. When did it hit you that moment? Because a lot of people think that moment happens during the game. Oh, I realized to do it. No, sometimes it could be afterwards. It's rarely during the game. When was that moment for you when you realized, wow, we just won an ACC championship at Wake Forest in football and it's helped, turn things around?
You know what, Kev? I think it's in the locker room after the game when it was the guys from the Orange Bowl committee. They came in with their orange suit jackets on and they started to talk about the trip and they gave Coach Grove the game ball, all that. I was like, oh, it just got real. Like, we did it. We're here, because like our whole lives as kids, like you see those guys with the orange jackets on and in there and like they're actually here and they're talking to us and me right now. Like this is actually happening, so I think that's when it clicked, like we actually did it. We did it.
And how does it feel to be a part of these moments that will be a part of not just Wake's football history, but you're talking about college football history. You're talking about Wake's name going to be on that list of being at the Orange Bowl, winning an ACC championship. What does that feel like to have, done something that special?
Um, it was great in the sense that you accomplished a goal. I think whatever that goal is, Kev, I think it's good when you can look back at something that you've planned for, you worked hard for, and that you can look back and say, "Yep, I did that." And I think it's something that kind of gave everybody on that team a mindset and a confidence per se, where if you put your mind to it and you put in the effort and the work, that you can do whatever that is. Uh, and so I think for me personally, that I did have chances to either go to another school after I chose Wake. I could have left after my redshirt freshman year. Um, but there's so many times I could have left or I could have done this, but me being raised by the type of parents that I have, being a quitter was not a option. It was something that I was always just brought up in, like as soon as you start something, you got to finish it, and choosing a school like Wake, like you knew things weren't going to be easy, but at the end of the day, if it's easy, then probably don't want it anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a blessing, all in all, man. And so just looking back on it and shoot, I mean, you bringing up stuff, man, that I even thought about. I'm like, dang, Orange Bowl, Wake, 06. I mean, like anytime I think back and I really like put myself in that time frame, man, like I get chills. I get like misty-eyed, because it's like I know how much hard work and pain and sacrifice, blood and sweat it took to accomplish that, and like to sit back and think about it. Shoot, I get emotional sometimes, man. Real.
I totally understand. So you went on after that, you had continued to have a great career, all ACC. And I want to talk about that moment. You got that call, 4th round draft pick. What was that moment like for you to get that call when you got drafted? You know, that's every player's dream, particularly at the collegiate level. So what was it like to be that handful that was chosen and to get picked in the 4th round? What was that moment like when you got that call?
Well, Kev, I was pissed off. Truthfully, I was pissed off because God rest his soul, Al Davis told me that the Raiders were going to pick me at the end of the first, at the start of the second round. When that did not happen, I didn't watch the draft at all. I went off into like a room inside my house. I had a party, everything there. So the 4th round comes, it's pick 116. I get that call. And I had to sound like the most uninterested, unluckiest kid ever, man. Like I was not happy whatsoever. The only thing I was happy about was that the wait was done, but now I just kind of had this like rage in the sense, like, okay, I'm about to make everybody pay for passing me up. 116 picks. Okay, let's go. Right. So I kind of had that mindset. Okay, now I'm back to being the underdog, back at Wake again. You know, so I'm kind of glad that I didn't get picked that high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it kind of just made me hungry again.
Yeah.
So that was what it was like, man. I just got
Would
pissed
you
off and angry all over again.
But would you say that that has served you kind of well when you think about the success you had at Wake with that chip on your shoulder, and then you're talking about thinking you were going to get drafted higher than you did, which 4th round is still pretty dope, to be honest with you. Uh, do you think that's something you carry with you even now in your professional coaching career?
Oh yeah, sir. No doubt about it. You know, it's always having that chip in that sense that you're never as good as you think you are. You know, and just having that humbleness and that you always have to work hard. You always have to. There's always room to grow, but the biggest thing was like you're not as good as you think you are, and just being humbled and being a student of the game and always wanting to learn and grow. I think that's what helped me as a player, but then definitely as a coach now, as is always having that hunger to learn and grow and to think that you never arrived. You know, that you always got to keep grinding because truthfully, you haven't gotten there yet, right? So it's always having that mindset every day, like, hey, man, we got to go out here and get it today. We got to grind it today because we're not there yet. You know, there's people still here that don't think we're good enough, man. We got to prove these cats wrong. So we got to keep grinding. You know, so that is the mindset that I have every single day, Kev. Like my feet touch that ground and I got a plan. Like I'm doing something. I'm trying to get 1% better at something. You know, so I always tell cats this, man, like any grown man, you gotta have a plan anytime your feet hit the ground. If not, because if you fail to plan, you're gonna plan to fail. It's gonna happen every time. Like you gotta have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have a plan. So yeah.
So you talked about your, academic success, athletic success at Wake. What was your favorite Deacon moment on the field and off the field?
Okay. Favorite Deacon moment. Favorite Deacon moment off the field. I would say this. It was the spring of '05. Okay, it's
Uh-oh.
the spring of '05.
Whenever somebody say springtime, it's that's a little bit different than the fall, but go ahead.
All right, it's the spring of '05, and at the time we had these cards,
Mm-hmm.
right? A Deacon card, And at the time, there was a cap as to how much you could spend there, right?
Yeah.
Well, Coach Faircloth that spring found a way to take off that cap for the football team. And so we could use that card anywhere on campus, the Sundry, Benson, the Pit, everywhere, right? Yeah. So this card was like a black card, right? So we use that joke everywhere. I'm talking about cats getting protein shakes, groceries, blenders. We were set for the rest of the spring and the first session of summer school, Kevin. It's the best time that way, right there, off the field. All right, off the field. On the field, I would say, man, there's a lot. I would want to say the Georgia Tech game, of course, ACC Championship. Another time that was great was beating Florida State 06 down there, 30-0, goose egg. That was a great game. Great game. It was great time. History, because we can't stand those guys down there. I know me personally, I can't stand Florida State. Anytime I see somebody from there, I'm talking cash, trash every time. I just don't like them or the school. But as I digress, so those are my two favorite moments.
So I want to jump into your coaching career. And where you've had a lot of success. Again, you come in and you have pretty much coached at a lot of great places. You've spent some time at Winston-Salem State, Fayetteville State, at the Air Force Academy, and now you're at the highest level. You're with the Jets. What is that like when you look back over your coaching career at this point, this early point? And you're having so much success at these different places and you keep elevating the places where you are. Now you're at the highest level. When you look back, what was that? What has that been like for you on that coaching journey?
So being a former player and on a coaching career path, it is different in a sense that it takes a lot just to gain respect from other coaches, all right? Because there is a stigma for guys that used to play ball, but then there's a even larger, more negative one that guys that played in the league that try to coach, because they think that former players don't take it too seriously and that, they're still going to act like a immature kid, that they don't work hard, blah, 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 blah. So for me, and then on top of that, I don't really look that old, right? Like a lot of people don't think that I'm about to turn 37 next year. They're like, what? No, like, yeah. Like,
first of all, the Deacon Nation, 37 is not that old.
It's not old.
It's not old.
It's not old, right? But like, folks think when they see me that I'm some young kid, maybe like 24, 25, whatever, So just like having to climb those hurdles just to gain respect, and then just setting yourself up and like really studying the game, because it's so much different from being a player to a coach, because it's hard, because the first thing you do as a player and like you try to coach, like you try to put these kids in the same mold that you were. You're like, okay, well, I played, I can coach, and these are the certain times and drills and skill set that a person should have. But that is the wrong thing to do. You can't, I can't expect everybody to be me or Alfonso Smith or Stanley Arnew, Aaron Curry. I can't do that. So just having a true coaching lens where like you still have your experience from when you played, that you can apply it as a coach, but just having that coaching lens there. But then think too, Kev, man, I think that I've been blessed with the skill set to network. But then also like I've been blessed to have an awesome coaching tree too. Because having played under Coach Grove and the coaches that were on his staff helped me navigate and to make moves along my coaching path so far. In fact, when I was at Air Force, there's probably about 6 or 7 guys that were either on staff at Wake or had crossed paths with Coach Grove in some form.
Wow.
So his reach is extremely long. And I think it's really cool just from the guys that Coach Grove recruited that how many of those guys are either coaches or personal trainers. Like he recruited guys that love to teach and love to give back and have some type of I can't find the word right now, but like they're trying to give back per se.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool, man. It's really cool. But I definitely did not think I would be here where I am 5, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
No way. Um,
So I want to
shoot,
talk about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, because shoot, go back 5 years, man. It's 2016, and I'm at Winston. Um, and I had no idea of trying to go to Air Force or the pro. I was just trying to be the best coach I could be. I'm just trying to learn and grow. And that was just the mindset I had at every place I'm been, that I'm trying to grow where I'm at. I'm not trying to go chase this job and that job, Kev, because I honestly believe if I'm good enough where I'm at, they will call me, right?
Come find you.
Build the dreams. If you build it, they will come. And every job I've had, Kev, I never called for it. They
Wow.
called me for the job. All of them. All of them. I'm never
Wow.
like interviewed, like, hey, it's Chip Vaughn. I'm interested. None of that happened. Like, they called me, and I was in such a good spot in Colorado at Air Force with Coach Calhoun. I almost didn't even take the job here, the Jets. I was this close, Kev. I was this close. It was because
Wow.
I don't care about, the perception of a job or the pay, because that's not what it's about for me. And why I coach is one, quality of life. I have to make sure that I'm not going to be stressed at work. And then I come home and now I'm struggling with my wife and my kid. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. I had to have the perfect work life. Excuse me. Um, and then two, it's like you have to find the right boss, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
could have a fantastic job per se on paper, salary is great, but your boss is terrible. Is a
Yeah.
Grinch. You can't work for him, right? I don't care about no paycheck. If I gotta go to work and walk on eggshells around you, and if I can't be me, I can't work for you. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So in any job that I do take, like those are the top things. Like I have to have those. So those are things I don't bend on. Like those are two hardcore concrete facts.
Well, Chip, I want to just a little bit into what it is. What is it like to be a coach in the NFL? You and I had talked a while back. What is it like to be in that process of evaluating talent for the draft? Like, what is that like to be on the other side of the process to see how players are evaluated? Those things. What was that like?
To be behind the curtain, man, it was something that I always wondered about, and it is extremely detailed. Like there's so much that goes into it that a lot of people don't know. Like they think it's all about height, weight, speed. Like we know everything about a player. Like we go back into the archives. We'll talk to high school teachers, custodians, principals. We're trying to find everything we can on you, because this isn't just like a scholarship at college. It's like you're about to get paid a lot of money to come help our franchise. And then there's some picks that where their role, like if they fail, then you probably won't have a job. Like it's just the weight and the severity of how every eval and every pick is. Like it's so serious that there's hundreds of jobs on the line with every pick, because either it's a really good pick or it's a terrible pick and it's going to cost you games or jobs or it's a lot that goes into it. It is a stress level that I didn't know existed until I got here. um, so it is a lot of stress, but it's hella fun though too, Kev.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I'm literally watching the best of the best out there, and it's like, okay, like I really have to go through this film with the fine tooth comb, and it's like you're really trying to compare between like a ribeye steak and like a wagyu steak, right? So it's like you're trying to compare like some great steaks. It's tough. It's tough. So that's where like the details matter, and like that's the biggest thing between college and the pros is like the details in everything, from like technique to scheme. It's just the details in which everything is done. So that is the biggest transition that I had to evolve to, was just being so much more detail oriented in everything.
So, as a coach, how do you approach the game from a coach's perspective now with the Jets at that top level? How do you approach your players, your game? Like, who is Chip Vaughn as the coach?
Okay, so Chip Vaughn as a coach is someone who he never had, or someone who he wished every coach he had was. And that is a person that is going to treat you like a man first and a player second, where it doesn't matter if you have success with me as a coach or someplace else, but the things that I teach you, you can take those and apply everywhere on the field and off the field. 'Cause I just don't want to be a football coach. I just want to be a coach. And that's like life coach, football coach, anything coach. Because a coach is a teacher. Like I don't just teach the game of football, I teach life. So that's something that I brought up here to the league, because in college, it's a process where you're really growing men, right? But in the pros, it's kind of, you get a ready-made product and it's not really that personable, it's all business, blah, blah, blah. That's how it was when I played. But I said, okay, what I think the pro game is missing is that college side of it, where the coach actually cares about you. It's like, hey, Kev, how's the family doing? How's your wife doing? Your kids, big mama. How, it's different. So that's something that I'm trying to bring here, is where like I truly believe if a player knows that you care about them, right? Like deep down, and like you're more than just a guy, then that player will run through a freaking brick wall, right? And so for me as a coach, I need you to buy in, because as soon as you buy in, I can truly tap into your true potential. But for me to get you to buy in, I got to show you how much I love you, right? So me as a coach is all about love. You will know that Chip Vaughn loves you. Now I want the best for you every single day because I'm gonna hold you accountable, right? I'm gonna hold you accountable. So on your worst days, we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
turn those into your best days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I truly want guys to know that every single day, right? We got 24 hours, right? That's the only thing between you and your opponent that y'all have in common is time, right? And so, how are you
Mm-hmm.
going to separate yourself is what you do with that time. And so, that's why every day when we wake up and our feet hit the ground, we got to have that plan. Because if not, somebody's going to gain that advantage on you, right? And so, there's somebody always out there who's working. Florida and Cali and Texas, there's somebody who's out there who's trying to be in your spot now. Somebody out there is working, So that is me as a coach, but everything starts with love.
Yeah.
First, foremost, it all starts with that four-letter word, love. And I think it's so hard for especially men to even like verbalize that now, right? To say love, like I love you. I think that's like the hardest thing for like folks to say. Man, I even seen some folks where like it looked like it physically hurt them to say those words, right? But that's such a powerful statement to tell another person, I love you, and I think that's something that is missing in this world now is love. So that's me.
So with your coaching career, what do you see next? Because you obviously have the talent, you obviously have the passion for it. What is next for Chip Vaughn when it comes to coaching?
What's next is I'm trying to do better than 2-14. That right now is on my back. Uh, Last year was a learning experience. I learned a ton, but I will not have another season like that again. I promise you that. Um, so that is what's next now is just I'm just ready for this 21 season to go ahead and get started, fired up, anxious with this brand new staff, which is awesome. So like that's where my mind is at now. Like, of course, I got big goals and dreams and stuff, but right now, man, I'm just ready to go ahead and just get this whole thing started because it really feels like I get to have my first year in the league as like a redo, right? Because last year, COVID, this happened, da da da. Brand new staff now, so it kind of is like reset button, start over, boom, right? So man, I'm just excited, anxious to go ahead and get this thing going. Just keep on this wave that I'm on right now, man. Trying to ride this wave out.
You talked about COVID. Did that impact your the organization's ability, and probably other organizations in the league, to evaluate the talent that was coming out of college? Because of, you had some players didn't play, some teams didn't play. Did that have an impact on it?
Um, I think it had an impact in a positive way
Hmm.
because I think it actually gave teams more study time where like you had to
Okay.
go in and really do your homework on guys. I think this year was the most in-depth evals that everybody had. You had to, because guys sat out or stuff was shut down. So like you had to really dig deep and watch film and like watch game film, right? And so I think it was very thorough. And I think the picks actually showed it because some teams got some great picks. I'm talking like picks that in like the fourth, fifth, sixth round, which usually doesn't happen like that.
Hmm.
But like a lot of teams got some quality fourth, fifth, sixth round guys. So I'm very excited about how this year is going to be. There's a
That's
lot of talented cats out there, man.
so when you look back at the program now and you're looking at five straight bowls and Clawson is starting to raise that bar again. How does that make you feel as a former player when you look at the success that the program has had in growing, and you can look back and see that even Coach Clawson and fans will point to that ACC championship team as that pivotal turning point that kind of set everything up for, some of the success. Now, how does that make you feel when you see the program where it is now?
I feel great, Kev. I feel fantastic, and because it's something that we all wanted to do. Because everybody who went to Wake was either an underdog, you're under recruited, overlooked, whatever it was. Anybody that chose Wake, it was okay. I'm coming here to prove a point, right? And having the success that Wake has had now, it's been fantastic, man. Now, we don't ever want like 6-7 wins to be the standard there. I think that we showed that we need to be fighting for a title every single year. Like, we don't care about just being eligible. No, we don't care about that. We care about a ring, right? Like, we're trying to go down in history. So anytime you touch that field and you got that mark on the side of your helmet, a WF, like, you should feel that you should win every single game. And that we're never happy to be in a game. I think that was the mindset of Wake when we first got there, that we were happy to keep the game close, right? And I'm so happy that is not the mindset anymore. We don't want close games. If anything, we're pissed off if the game is close, right? That's how it should be. Like, damn, this game is close. What's up?
Yeah.
But man, I'm glad with where the program is going. I think it's on a fantastic track. And as I said before, man, I think Wake is sitting on a gold mine. It is a gold mine. You can literally have whatever you want in the world is in the palm of your hand at Wake. It's at the palm of your hand.
So, Chip, man, thank you for taking the time out. So one last question, and this is what I'm asking all our guests. Who should I talk to next on Deac2Deac? Who would you like to see share their story and their experience?
Oh, so I got 3 guys.
Okay, you got 3. Okay.
3. Okay. One is Kevin Patterson. I got 4 guys. I got 4 guys, Kel. I got you. So 1, Kevin Patterson.
Okay.
DJ Bolden.
Okay.
Stanley Arnew.
Okay. Okay.
And the last one is Aaron Curry.
Okay.
Those 4 guys are Wake Forest football to the T. Fresh Deacs, as some people would call them.
So if Kevin, DJ, and Stanley and Aaron are listening, I'm coming for you. We got to have you on. Chip Vaughn has said it, and so we've got to make that happen. Chip, man, thanks again for taking the time out. I know you got a busy schedule. Appreciate you.
Actually, Kev, listen, I'm on vacation right now, man. I don't have. Hey, you caught me at a great time. I don't have a busy schedule.
Oh, you got one. You're married with a child. You have a busy schedule. Right.
You got me. You right.
Oh, man.